Good morning, everybody. Welcome. So, very professional, just having a quick gulp of something. Bring a cushion or a block with you to today's class if you've got one handy. Don't worry if you can't reach one. Going to have a bit more of a stretchy, relaxing one. So Monday's class, mobility with much more power. Today, we've had a busy old week, so today it's more gentle, stretchy, and just wind down. However, if any of you are joining me at 8 o'clock, I've got a very punchy circuits class with weights coming. So, this is just sort of a bit of a false economy, really. Let's get cracking, shall we? So just bring yourself down to the mat, bring yourself into a seated position to start with. And I want you to have your knees bent, please. Feet on the floor, pop your hands in behind your knees. Just take a little nod of your chin and roll off your sit bones. Allow your arms to lengthen out and just hang out here for a moment. If it suits you better, you could have a towel, pop a towel around the back so both legs are held on to. And I want you to try and touch your nose right into your breastbone. And then gently roll yourself back up. Take your arms up and over your knees and reach right down towards your toes. Look back towards your belly button. And then come back up. Let's do that one again. So popping your hands in behind your knees, curling off your sit bones into as rounded a spine as possible. Allow your arms to lengthen. Take a breath here. And again, as you breathe out, roll yourself back up. Reach your arms up and over. Try and touch your toes, tuck your chin right in. Let's just do 2 or 3 more of these. It's a gentle way, opening through the spine, a little bit of movement through the hips. Now, those of you on Instagram, are you actually doing this? Because I've found out so far that 2 or 3 people have told me, oh, I was watching you on Instagram, sitting in bed with a cup of tea. So I see you. I mean, I don't really. Don't let me freak you out. Just teasing. Let it be on your conscience. Roll away. Open up through your spine. Tuck your nose right into your breastbone. Maybe go a tiny bit further. And then again, roll up and reach. Tuck your chin in. Look back towards your nose. Your nose? No. Look back. Look to your nose, your belly button. My gosh. You can tell it's Friday. Tell it's the end of the week. And again, roll away. Prepare for a lot of gibberish coming your way. And again, no change there really, is there? And reach forward. And have a stretch here. Superb. Now this time, just take your arms away and roll yourself all the way back down to the floor and bring your knees up into your chest. And give your knees a little hug. And what I want you to do, probably better put your hands underneath your knees. You're not pressing on the knee joints. And just see if you can lift your sit bones off the floor and then rock back. Just a little lift. So it's a gentle reverse curl. Keep it passive. Okay, so we don't want to make it too challenging. So we're thinking much more about trying to lengthen through the lower back rather than making it all about ab strength. So you may be familiar with a version of this in a more intensive way. But here we're just very gently using a bit of momentum to see if we can't just open up through the lumbar spine a little bit more. Let's just do 3 or 4 more like this. I've just been thinking about the work we've done this week and said what areas I'd like to target to help us to recover. Because we've done some tough old work, haven't we? Okay, come back to the centre. Bring your feet to the floor. Now your heels are in line with your seat bones. Your heels are under your knees. What if you don't have your heels too close? I know sometimes those of you who are more familiar with yoga, you want to bring your heels right up and underneath you, which is completely fine in its place. But we're going to bridge, and that can sometimes stress the knee if we don't have that appropriate range of movement through the ankle. So heels underneath your knees. And I want you just to tip your hips back like we just did a moment ago for the reverse curl. And then pick up your hips and roll yourself all the way up. Hold it here. Option to leave your arms by your sides. Otherwise, take your arms overhead, reach your arms away, and then curl yourself back down and bring your arms up and over by your sides. Roll your hips backwards, pick up your tailbone. Let's go again, rolling up, bring your arms up and overhead. Try and reach the wall behind you with your fingertips and curl yourself back down and bring your arms up and over. We're just here for 30 minutes. This is a really handy sort of wind down mobility stretch. It's suitable when you sort of finish pretty much any one of your sessions. So keep it handy. Use it when you've been out running, or you've had a really intensive game of tennis, or you've been lifting your weights or whatever. Just a way to just not only to relax the body, but also just to calm the entire system down. Sometimes if the work we've been doing is being high intensity, high energy, it's just good to calm everything back down, to work a little bit more slowly. So if you find you're wanting to rush through this, we're going to do a couple more. If you find you're wanting to rush through this, just practice with your breath. Breathing in for 8, breathing out for 12. Just tell your whole central nervous system, everything is fine, I'm perfectly safe, I can breathe deeply, there's no need for rush, there's no need for stress, and just slow everything back down. We don't need to be working at 100 miles an hour all the time. Okay, I want you to open your arms out to your side, put your knees and feet together, and drop both knees up and over to one side, turn your head away. Bring your knees to your centre and take it up and over to the other side. So if you are somebody that sometimes is, you have a combination perhaps of a stressful life and stressful work environment, and you also choose to have high energy exercise, lots of high impact, high energy, then it's really good practice to bring some slow and gentle mobility and stretch work, some gentle Pilates or yoga or something into your weekly practice. As I say, just give you a chance to calm everything down, slow it all down, and just give the whole system a bit of a chance to stand down. Let's do that one more time each way. It took me a long time to learn to do that. I was always someone who needed to be jumping up and down and sweating and burning and out of breath, and it's taken me a long time to embrace this, and I can really feel the benefits now, so mental as well as physical. Let's just do that one more time. Quite frankly, leaning more and more towards this stuff. Who wants to jump up and down anyway? What good is that? Only joking. Okay, come back to your centre. Bring your left knee up into your chest. Take hold of the back of your left knee. Stretch your right leg up long. If you choose to leave your head down, absolutely fine. Otherwise, lift your head and try and touch your knee to your forehead, but feel free to leave your head on the floor. Or if you've got the block, maybe you'll put the block under your head to give you slight elevation. Now stretch through the right leg, and if it suits you, lift your heel just an inch or two and flex and point. Let's just do that 4 or 6 times. Flex and point. You're welcome to leave your straight leg on the floor. Otherwise, just work through your ankle here. Maybe a couple more times like so. Okay, now rest your heel on the floor. Bring your head to the floor. Take your right hand around the outside of your knee and put your knee right the way across you. Get that twist through your spine. If you're more comfortable too, you may choose to put a cushion underneath your knee to give you some support. Look behind you over your shoulder. If your neck doesn't like that, keep your head to the centre. And if your shoulder is happy, stretch your left arm out long behind you. That's quite intense. So if you're feeling a little bit of stiffness there, a little bit of restriction, then soften your elbow or just bring your arm closer back in towards you. Now push your breath into the upper side of your rib cage. I talked about this earlier in the week, how we can use our breath to improve our stretch. So just visualize with your in-breath opening up through the ribs, and with your out-breath going perhaps a tiny bit further into that rotation. Now bring your hand underneath your knee. Take the weight of your knee and guide it back gently to the centre. And I want you to take both hands just to the back of your knee and circle it out and around 3 or 4 times in each direction. Try not to press your thigh bone into your hip socket. Let your hip feel relaxed, but you're just offering support to the joint here, so the hip flexors get a chance to rest. Let's go the other way. So think about your breath. Maybe breathing a little more slowly, a little more fully. Maybe a little pause after your out breath before you breathe in again, a little pause there, or perhaps when you breathe in, have a pause there before you breathe back out again. Come back to your centre. Lift your second knee. Hold both knees in towards you. If it suits you, lift your head and hug both knees in. And then let your left leg go out long. Bring your right knee towards you. You've got the option of leaving your head on the floor. You've got the option of leaving your straight leg on the floor. Otherwise, lift your left leg and just flex and point half a dozen times or so. But all the way through this, trying to put your knee right up into your chest, whether your head is up or down. Okay. Just do maybe one or two more here. And then if you've got your head off the floor, lower it back down, lower your leg. Take your left hand to the outside of your right knee and put it all the way across. So perhaps it may be more suitable for you to put a support under your knee if you don't feel you can go quite so far. Turn your head if your neck's happy with that. Stretch your arm out long. But again, always adapt. Don't force anything. You know, sort of park our ego up outside the door and just listen to what our body needs to do, particularly in this environment where we're just asking for a little bit of a more gentle approach and stretch, some mobility. If we force it, we create tension. We're literally telling the system that we're in a situation of stress and trauma. We're far less likely to be able to enjoy the stretch as everything gets ready to launch an attack. So work slowly, breathe deeply, take your time, tell your system everything is fine here. Couple of deep breaths here. And then you're going to take your hand underneath your knee, guide the weight of your knee back to the centre. Take your hands. I'd encourage you to hold behind your knee. If you're comfortable, you can have your hands on top. We're going to circle. I'm always very knee conscious because mine are quite cranky. And I just want to avoid pressing into the joint. So I would say it's safer to hold behind your knee, but that's completely up to you. Let's just do a few the other way. So we've had some intense work this week. And as I say, this is a way just to encapsulate what we've been doing, to think about where we need to stretch out, where we need to mobilise, but also an opportunity just to check in and go back. So we had the stretchy mobility stuff on Monday. That was more intense than it was mobility focused, and now it's all about just total relaxation. Now come back to the centre, bring your second knee towards you, and again, if it suits you, bring your head towards your knees. If you're not comfortable with that, leave your head on the floor. Either which way can you stretch your legs to the ceiling and then bend back down. If you prefer, you can do one leg at a time. So just a little bit of work through the back to the thighs, nothing aggressive. So you may not get fully straight, that's okay. Just go to where you can, where you feel comfortable. Again, if you've got your block, perhaps you want to have your block to the back of your head as an option. Should we just do a couple more? Great work. Now the next time, hold it, and I'm going to ask you, if you're happy to lift your head, take hold of the back of one leg and lower your other leg down. Now if that feels a little intense, hold the back of the thigh and allow that knee to soften. Try not to bend it fully, and if you can get straight, great, but soften slightly and pull that leg in towards you. Then lift your other leg up and swap. Now of course, bring your head back down to the floor if you need to. If there's any bother with your neck, then that's where you go to. Let's do a couple more on each side. So we just do a very sort of gentle variation of our single straight leg stretch here. And again, not putting any tension into the neck whatsoever. So think about stretching through the back of the leg that you're holding into the front of the hip of the leg that goes back down to the floor. Should we do one more? Well done. Come back up, bend your knees, bring your knees in towards you, bring your feet to the floor, and let's just come over onto one side. So this is where you'll have your block. If you haven't got one handy, just fold up your lower arm and use that as your cushion. Otherwise, you've got your block here, arms out long, knees are stacked, hips stay straight. Just lift up through your upper arm and take your arm right up behind you. This is such a basic move. It's one that I really love because most of us tend to be a little bit round-shouldered. And this is an opportunity to open up through the chest. But what I want you to do, please, with your arm out long behind you, is just check now that you're not arching your back. So maybe just slightly tilt your pelvis and tuck your bottom underneath you. And then, if your shoulder is happy, can you bend your elbow and let your elbows feel heavy drop it down towards the floor. But again, it's quite intense, so please don't force it. Just open up through the front of the chest there. Let's hold it here for a couple of breaths. That's too intense. Bring your arm in towards your hip and just pull your elbow back. So don't overload the joint if it's not happy with that. And then as you breathe out the next time, gently does it, be kind to your joints, close it over. We're going to do that twice more, but this time we're not going to hold it. So as you breathe out, take your arm as far away as you can, add a little bend of your elbow if that suits you, and then breathe in to close. You may want to add another breath in there. You don't need to hold your breath. Let's do that one more time. When we go into sort of extreme positions, really deep stretches, always come in and out of it gently. Just give the joints a chance and all the structure around the joints a chance just to recalibrate. Okay, now we're just going to do a couple of circles here. Take your arm right the way out as far as you can. Never underestimate the importance and benefit of this kind of work. These are the moves when you say at the end of the class, I've got to rush off, I've got to be somewhere. Yeah, I'll stretch later, I promise. And you know, and I know, we both know that's not going to happen. And then further down the line, let's reverse those circles. Further down the line, that niggly shoulder, that grumpy hip, that annoying knee comes back. So please, please make your stretch and mobility every bit as important as whatever else it's doing, whether it's lifting weights, hitting a ball, riding a bike, whatever it might be. I'm sorry to nag, I can't help it, it's an inbuilt feature. Bring your hand back down, and from here, just bring yourself up to sitting. Before we go on to side two, we're going to do a little spine stretch. So if you want to, sit on your block, take your feet to about the width of the mat. Now I've got nice stretchy hamstrings, I'm happy to have my legs long, but yours may be a little bit tighter perhaps, in which case have your knees soft. Now I'm going to join you there, I'm going to start with my knees soft. You're going to have one hand on top of the other, bring your hands to the floor in front of you, and just slide your hand right the way out as far away as you can. When you can't go any further, hold it, take a deep breath in. And then as you breathe out, can you go even a millimetre further? Doesn't matter if you can't. Again, we're not competing here. We're just seeing what's in the tank today. And then slowly come all the way back up. Sit tall and carry on and bring your arms to the ceiling. Now, you're very welcome to leave your knees bent. But how about you take them a little longer, but that's just a suggestion. Now this one, the opposite hand goes on top. Remember, I've talked about this before, don't roll in front of your sit bones, stay on your sit bones, one hand on top of the other, and slide your hands away. So as I reach my hands forward, I'm trying to push my waistband and my bottom ribs backwards, so I don't collapse through the hips. And then you've got the option of bringing your elbows down towards the floor. If that suits you, it may not. Likewise, a little bend of those knees if you need to. And again, restack, sit tall, and bring your arms to the ceiling. Wonderful. Now this time, bring your arms down, take both hands towards one leg. Again, very welcome to leave your knee bent. And just slide down towards the outside of that leg with both hands. And turn and look over that shoulder, but watch that you're not tipping everything over. So for me, I'm reaching down my left leg. I want to still be anchored into my right sit bone. And here, hold it here, and push your breath now to the back of your rib cage. Can you imagine with your in-breath, can you imagine trying to open your shoulder blades apart? Can you expand the back of the rib cage? And on the next out-breath, gently does it, rebuild, stay facing to that side and lift both arms. Keep rotating to that side. And come back down. Let's go to the opposite side here. So turning away. And again, slide forward. Legs straight, legs bend. Whatever works for you, just going to where suits you. Toes pointed if you need a little bit more give. Feet flex or make it a bit spiky. And again, looking away over that shoulder, watching you're not tipping all the way into that side. And then restack, staying rotated to that side and lifting both arms. Fantastic. Okay, now this time, one more here. Both hands are separated, hands to the floor, and just go for it. But again, find that opposition. So as you slide your hands forward, push your bottom ribs backwards. backwards. Don't fold at the hips, don't collapse here. Try to make your back as rounded as you can. So imagine I'm kneeling behind you and I've got my hands like this around your belly. And as you're reaching forward, I'm literally pulling your rib cage backwards. Which when we're in a face-to-face class, I've done that before with a resistance band, just to give you that feedback, to have a band around here. And as you come forward, just imagine how you're trying to reach backward. In fact, what you could do is leave one arm in front of you and take one hand to the back of your waistband and push into your hand there, just to give you that idea of where you're trying to get to. Feeling the stretch into the backs of the legs, soft through the knees if you need. And then gently does it, bring yourself back up. And just finish by sitting tall. Get into that habit, always coming back into perfect posture rather than slumping. Whenever you're sat on the floor, always check in, just see if you can't just correct your posture. Let's come on to side 2, please. All right, so again, the option of a block or fold your arm underneath you. Knees are sat. Now your reference point here, when your arm goes behind you, your reference point is that your upper knee doesn't pull back behind. Sorry, I can't really see anyone in black, but your upper knee doesn't pull back behind your lower knee. So knees stay in line, then lift that upper arm. Take it right out behind you. Remember, you're trying not to let your back arch. It's just about the shoulder, the rotation through the middle spine. And then if it suits you, let your elbows soften. Just imagine that your elbows become really heavy and it's pulling down towards the floor. Now that can be very intense, so please be kind to your shoulder. And if that doesn't suit you, A, straighten your arm and lift it slightly higher. B, bring your elbows slightly back, closer towards your back ribs. Okay, just adapt it so you're still getting into the front of the shoulder, the chest here, but without upsetting your joint at all. Couple of breaths here. Remember, you're slightly tucking your tailbone underneath you, tucking your bum underneath you, watching your upper knee hasn't pulled back, and then close your arm over. We're going to do 2 more, but this time we're going to stay moving. So breathing out, take your arm back, add a little bend of the elbow if that suits you. Breathe in to close back down. And when you're doing this, it's a really good idea to compare this side with the other side. I mean, obviously, we're aiming for both sides to work the same, but it's a good opportunity to really get to understand yourself, how you move, where the discrepancies are, what's going on. And maybe that makes sense then for that niggle that you've been trying to deal with. Let's go to a couple of circles. So whenever you're doing your practice, I talk about this a lot in my classes. I want you to really feel what you're doing. When you feel safe to, work with your eyes closed. Gives you better feedback because you're taking away sort of visual distraction. Close your eyes and you really feel where you're going, what you're doing. How does one side compare to the other? If there is a restriction, where is it coming from? Let's go the other way. You just get to know yourself and how you move. And where perhaps you need to adapt things. It's just the way it is, you know, we can't all do everything. Sometimes we need to modify things or use a little prop. Doesn't matter. Getting us to the end result. All right, come back. I told you I nagged a lot. I can't help it. I tried to switch it off. It just doesn't happen. Okay, bring yourself back up, please. And we're going to come into 4-point kneeling. We're going to come into some hip flexor stretching, which is so important. I talk about this one a lot as well. So coming into a high kneel, all right. Now, bring one foot out in front. If you're a bit wobbly, one hand onto the wall or the back of a chair or something. And I want you to come into a big old lunge. However, not here. Okay, so we're working, in fact, we're going to do this side first. We're working on opening through the front of the hip. So the action is lengthening through here, not arching through here. So reaching forward, and then I want you to bring your arms out in front. Now, by all means, rest one hand on the back of the chair. Please don't feel unstable. But if you're happy to, take both arms to the ceiling. So we're not doing stretching from above as well as below. Okay, hip flexor stretch is so important. If you think about how many hours a day you might be sat down, and the hip flexor shorten this area here, gets short, so we just want to open it all up. But always stretch warm muscles. Don't just leap out of bed and start stretching. Give the system a chance to get moving and warmed up a bit. Okay, come out of it, start to sit back. Pull up your toes, send your hips back, reach forward. We did this one Monday. Reach forward and feel the stretch into the calf. Just a short stretch here. And then come forward again. Let's go into that hip flexor again. Reach forward if you're happy to take your arms up to the ceiling, but please don't arch your back. So if I was to come along and put my hand here to the back of your waistband, you can still feel that connection. Yeah, you're not going into that arch there. And let's just do this one more time. Hook those toes up, feel that stretch into your calf. Now we're going to go to side two, please. I'm going to do it standing so that if for any reason kneeling isn't good for you, let's just see how we can do the opposite side. You're going to repeat side one, I'm going to come back to join you, but it may suit you if you prefer to, or if you've been out for a walk or something, you've got back to the car, you don't particularly want to be grovelling around in the gravel. So you can do your hip flexor stretch like so. You can still bring your arms to the ceiling. If you're on a long flight, get up, get into the passageway, whatever, and do a couple of these. It really, really does help. Okay, so that would be your option standing, and then pull up your toes like so. So if for any reason you don't want to kneel or it's just not appropriate, there's your option. Otherwise, obviously, here we are again. Take your arms up to the ceiling. Hold it. Hold it. Oh, and sit back and just put your toes up towards you. Feel that stretch into your calf. Wonderful work. Excellent. And relax. And I want us to finish with 1 minute, about a minute and a half actually. We're going to do some breath work. So I'd like you to bring yourself please down onto the floor. Have your knees bent, feet on the floor, arms by your sides. Now from here, if you want to put a cushion under your head, go ahead. If you want to stretch your legs, if you feel more comfortable with your legs straight, go ahead. That can sometimes overextend the spine, but that's your choice. Now, it doesn't matter where you are, it doesn't matter what distractions there are, because you're going to bring your focus right into here and now. So I'd like you to breathe in for a count of 8. I'd like you to hold your breath for a count of 8. I'd like you to breathe out for a count of 8. And I'd like you to hold your breath for a count of 8. So that's your breathing pattern. Now, as you're breathing, I'm going to ask you to just scan your body up and down, front to back, side to side, top to bottom. Go through all your major joints. Go through your smaller joints. Send some attention to any area that's been niggly or tight or a bit uncomfortable. Imagine how you breathe in, you're breathing in new energy, new oxygen. Send that energy to any area that you feel needs it a bit more at the moment. And as you breathe out, breathe away the tension. Basically, we're breathing out what we don't need. We've got that oxygen, we've taken what we need from it. We're breathing away the waste. So just let it all go. Breathe out as fully and as deeply as you can. I'm going to ask you to keep going with your breath pattern like this. And if you're comfortable here and you want to stay here, that's fine. Otherwise, maybe come into a full body stretch, arms long, legs long, which won't be quite as comfortable, but just see how you get on with it. I want you to imagine that you're hanging from the branches of a tree and you're trying to reach the floor with your toes and you just can't quite find the floor. Can you make yourself a little bit taller every time you breathe in, lengthen through your spine? And as you breathe out, can you hold that length? Okay, Gently, gently, gently move very slowly. Be really kind to your whole system. Bring your arms back down, bend your knees. If you are somebody who gets a little bit stressy, or maybe you find it difficult to get to sleep, or you just simply need a couple of minutes during the day, you can do that sitting in a corner. You don't need to be lying on the floor. It's a fantastic way to become present. And when you're counting, stay with me just for another half minute. When you're counting, visualize the numbers. Imagine climbing steps, or imagine walking through the woods and counting the trees, or anything like that, or see the numbers, or count pennies, whatever works for you. But it's a very simple and basic and yet really effective way to become present. And just to stop all that noise in the background, just to connect with your system. Now from here, put your knees and feet together, move slowly. You may feel a tiny bit lightheaded, so just roll onto one side. Just rest on your side for a moment. And then from here, bring yourself please up to sitting. Sit tall, stretch up as tall as you can, reach for the ceiling and relax. As always, we've run over just a little bit. Thank you so much for joining me. I really, really hope you've enjoyed these. Obviously on Instagram, the classes are there. Also, I'm putting them into my YouTube channel. If you're local to Beaulieu and you're around tomorrow, then I'm at Beaulieu Village Hall at 9 o'clock. I would absolutely love you to join me. Completely free. It's a way of bringing it right back to where we started. That's where I did my first, it was Facebook Live class. It was Friday the 17th of March, 5 years ago. Not that it's not etched onto my memory forever. It was so terrifying because nobody turned up. And I thought I'd have a go. And look, here we are, 5 years later. We're all so au fait with Zoom and Instagram and being online. So thank you for helping me to celebrate how far we've come and what we've achieved. And yeah, it's been lovely to see some new faces on Instagram and to see some very, very much loved faces on Zoom. And we are going to be lifting weights in 25 minutes. If you want to join us, send me a message. Otherwise, thank you everybody. Lovely to see you.